Good evening, people. On today, we're looking at boundaries in relationships. Now, this is as important as it can get because you need to know when to not cross those boundaries. This is as important as knowing the life of your relationship is totally dependent on the lines you cross and the lines you don't cross. Now, looking at these lines, one would want to ask, why do you have these lines? Why do you have these barriers? But then again, we would want to understand that in every settings there is a need for checks and balance. Basically, in life there's always balance. So there's the need to know you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that with respect to the person you're dating. We understand there is personality differences. People are different. All right, and then as unique as it can be, we've said it as many times as possible that you don't have two relationships that are the same. All relationships are unique in their own way. So there is no one rule that applies to all. That's not possible. Looking at boundaries now, we would want to check and understand the fact that there are things that you don't do and there are things that you do. Now, there are do's and don'ts. That's exactly what we're trying to say. Now, one of the number one faults that we have in relationship is we don't start off rightly. You might want to ask what I mean, but don't worry about that. I'll explain it. Now, this is it. Now, you don't leave everything to time when you enter into a relationship, especially when you enter into it freshly. You don't wait for time to tell your partner who you are. I understand there's a need to spend time. Hell yes, there's a need for that. But then again, there are things that you'll need to spell out, and that's where we make the mistake. That's where we get it wrong. Now, oftentimes partners get these things so wrong, so much so that you cannot make amends. Now you have the relationships heading for the rocks. Now, something that could be avoided. Now you have your relationships done and dusted on the grounds of something that could have been avoided. That's not nice. Now we're saying you're entering into a relationship, we understand the need for rules of engagement. So as a result, there is a need for you to spell out certain things. There's a need for certain definitions. You need to tell your partner, this I like, this I don't like. Now, fundamentally speaking, that will be you setting standards. That would be the rules of engagement. Now, looking at boundaries, I would want to paint a scenario. Now, respectfully speaking, there are certain things that are private. Now, as loving as you might be, you have the butterflies, you're into each other. There are certain things you might want to keep away. And there's a need for space. We have talked about this several times. There's a need for your partner to feel the free space. Okay? So they don't feel choked. Now, this would allow for time to innovate. People need to be innovative. You can't be all over people's face. Now, this is about boundaries. Now, first things first, people need to understand they can trust you with their secrets. People need to understand they can trust you with their rules. So I tell you, don't touch my phone. Now, this is it. Now, I might choose to do it politely, or I might choose to do it the way I choose. So I can say, hey, don't touch my phone. For whatsoever reason, do not come close to my phone. Now, I expect that you will respect that. It would not matter. It won't matter if, whether or not I'm cheating or not. It has nothing to do with it. This is just about me wanting to keep that private. Now it's left for you to trust me on that. Now, on the matter of boundaries in relationship, we would want to talk about your overall expectations in that relationship. The issue, people expect too much when you enter into a relationship. Now, you have studied and profiled your partner physically. There are other things you should know. And then when you have partners not open enough, you have the issues.